How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Ask Me Anything About Politics. I'm here to answer all of your questions about politics. If you got any questions about politics, let me know in the chat. I know that politics can be really intimidating when you don't know too much about it, so I like to make myself available to answer all of your good faith questions about politics. There's no such thing as a dumb question, so you don't got to worry. You don't got to worry about getting judged or roasted or debated or anything of that nature. I am just here to answer all of your good faith questions. What's up, Christy? What's up, sweet Caroline? How's it going? I am currently experimenting with a new live streaming service and seeing if it is working on the other things, because when I was using the OBS, it was nixing me off of TikTok. So we will see if this works. Believe that says so. No more Patel. Patel is still in charge of the FBI, I believe. I think that he was acting director of a different agency that they just got a different person into. So yeah, if anybody's got any questions about politics, let me know. I am here. I know that politics can be really intimidating when you don't know too much about it. It can be like trying to learn a new language. So, if you got any questions, just hit me up in the chat, and I will do my best to give you a good answer. Christy says, your thoughts on Trump's tariffs against China, 134%. Everything about the tariff policy is dumb. It's like it's not going to do what it's supposed to be doing. I believe that China is playing hardball, and so like they're not saying they're going to back down or anything like that. The same way that he's done this with China before. I don't really know. There's no trying to make sense of this policy. It doesn't make sense on any front. And there's all these people that are trying to rationalize it one way or the other, but nothing really makes sense. And so it's chaos, it's lies. That's basically just like the short version of it. Stephanie says, how likely the SAVE Act to pass? I think it's probably pretty unlikely. They would need 60 votes in the Senate. So if they don't get rid of the filibuster, then the SAVE Act is basically done. But you just got to keep your eyes on that space, and if you have a Democratic senator that you are worried is going to potentially allow voting on this or vote for this, then you got to make sure that you call them up. I'm pretty confident that the Democrats are not going to, be down with this, but 4 House Democrats voted with the House Republicans on this bill. They are in the states respectively, Washington, Texas, Hawaii, and one more. Washington, Texas, Hawaii, and there was one more. Where the fuck was the other one? Maine! That's where it was. So yeah, if you live in those states, then, call your representatives and see if they were one of the Democrats that voted for the SAVE Acts. Kelly McJelly says the SAVE Act did pass. It passed in the House, but not in the Senate. Nadia says, free Palestine. I'm for that. Tosh says, a family member of mine switched a large amount of his stocks to bonds. Good or bad decision? I am not qualified to give financial advice. My dad always called the stock market Vegas East. If you are not one of those people that just buys things and then just lets it sit for a long time, I got no more advice to give you. Let's see here. Juliet says, how do we make peace in Israel-Palestine? Warzone veteran says, Trump or Kamala? Why are you asking me about Kamala? The election's over, my man. I'm trying to restream, and it does not appear to be streaming to my other channels, which is distressing. I wonder if I missed a step or something like that. Juliet, how do we make peace in Israel-Palestine? So I think it's a huge problem that a lot of people have, done their best to try and solve. The two-state solution seemed like the best bet, but, with the current government of Israel, it seems like that is very unlikely to pass. So what do we do going forward? I mean, the first thing that we got to do is we got to get a different president. Trump is not going to put the necessary pressure on the Israeli government to stop doing war crimes to the people of Palestine. He has resumed sending Israel 2,000-pound bombs. He has canceled sanctions that we had against illegal Israeli settlements in the West Bank. So right now, his position is the exact same as the Netanyahu government's position about how you make peace in Palestine is by getting rid of all the people that live there and replacing that with people from Israel instead. I don't think that's the move, to be perfectly frank. So yeah, step one is you got to start putting pressure on the government of Israel to stop doing war crimes, to be a neighbor that wants peace. Some concessions to the people of Palestine, I think, would be a start. The reason why Hamas has power is because the government of Israel has been really shitty to the people of Palestine. And so when people are put in that position, then they tend to vote for more maximalist political groups like Hamas, you know? Ronald says, MAGA, that is an example of the kind of comment that gets you blocked. It's not a question. I don't care if you have different opinions than me, but ask a question. Bill the Bunker says, will no tax on tips be taking place soon? My guess is that that's going to happen never, Bill the Bunker. I just saw that. So the House and the Senate, both controlled by Republicans, remember, are working on a budget bill. A budget bill does not need 60 votes to pass. So, because they use a thing called reconciliation, where so long as it's about the budget, you can do something with only 51 votes. So right now, the House passed a version, the Senate passed a version, and now they're going into reconciliation to try to make the two versions into something that everybody can agree with, all the Republicans, I should say. And there's nothing in that bill right now about no tax on tips or no tax on overtime. It is just tax cuts for the rich, increasing budget for immigration enforcement, for the Pentagon, and for energy. That's basically it. AOC said that there are cuts to Medicare and Medicaid in there. I didn't see any of that, but I trust her. She's on the ball, so there you go. Desiree Crow says, I have been living in Israel, so I know firsthand. Well, I sure hope that you're voting for not Netanyahu. Warzone veteran said, why didn't Joe Biden have boots on the ground when October 7th happened? Nearly 100 civilians. Warzone veteran, I don't believe that you are a real person who is here in good faith, because why would you even ask that question? The election is over, my man. You are, I don't know if you're a real person or not, but your messages make it seem like somebody forgot to unplug a bot from before the election. Since I'm not American, explain briefly how elections work in the United States. So we have elections all the time. We have special elections, primary elections, midterm elections, general elections, etc. And for most elections, it is, whoever wins the election wins the election. But for the presidential election, it's whoever wins the electoral college. That is whoever wins the election. And the electoral college is a sort of winner take all. Every state has a certain number of points that get allocated. And so there could be 5 million votes for the Democrats in a state, but 501 million votes in the same state for the Republican. And so all those Democratic votes get thrown in the garbage, and it's just the Republican votes that count, and they get all of those electoral votes. Warzone veteran says, how is that about the election? Your President Joe Biden left American citizens to die in a tunnel. Yeah, you have not proved me wrong at all, Warzone, so you are out of here. Just to let you know that they have all these bots on lock, like they're still going. They're still spreading the same fucking bullshit narratives that they were programmed to spread before the election. They're still doing it, Rick says, why do you think Trump is so hated? I think that the reasons why people hate Donald Trump, Rick, are so vast. You could write an anthology series about it. Short version, he's a corrupt, racist liar who has done nothing but hurt people since he has been both in the public spotlight and in government. He has been a destructive force in American government. He has been extremely divisive. He orchestrated an attempted coup on the government. He has been found guilty of 34 counts of election fraud and finance fraud. He has cheated and not paid his business partners and his employees. There are contract workers that he decided never to pay. He was discriminated against Black people that were trying to rent apartments in his buildings. So yeah, there's just a little short list for you, my man. Let's see here. Dylan says consumer prices went down during month for the first time since Trump's last term. W. Trump. That's not true, Dylan. Consumer prices are going up. What you maybe are looking at are the sort of like the consumer price index, which is the cost of like the raw material or the value of the raw material, should we say. But prices are continuing to go up. Rick says, give me proof Trump is racist. Okay, he once said, I don't want black people counting my money. I want little guys wearing yarmulkes counting my money. So that's racist and anti-Semitic. There you go. Rat Farmer says, martial law coming soon. Panic, liberal. I don't know what your fucking deal is, Rat Farmer, but ask a question or you're going to get booted. Just like Teresa is getting booted because all she did was say Trump. Let's see here. Terrence says he was bragging with his billionaire pals about the billions they made. Yeah, corruption and grift, my man. Trump's your daddy said interest rates are down lower than expected. Quit lying. That's not a real thing that you just said. Man, a lot of trolls out today. Okay. $7 trillion into America. I don't know what that means. The Kinkiest Spoon says, what's your opinion on anortions? I think that women should be able to have as many anortions as they want. I do not consider a fetus to be a person. There are other people in this country that do think that fetuses are people. And, that's the reason why we have compromise policies that limit the time when a woman can get an abortion. Even in blue states, you are not allowed to have an abortion if the fetus is past the moment where it can survive outside of the womb. But that was not good enough for the pro-lifers, and so they decided to institute abortion bans in red states, thanks to the Trump administration and the right-wing Supreme Court. They were allowed to do that, and now there are a bunch of women who are dead because of that decision. There's a child out there who does not have a mom anymore because of these red state abortion bans. Let's see here. Thank you, Dr. Keisha Davis. That is accurate. Now maternal mortality has gone up 27%. Let's see here. Chief Petty Officer says $7 trillion again. Yeah, just because you keep on repeating that number, it doesn't mean anything. You actually have to tell us what that number means, my man. But you're dangerously close to, getting banned. B-Swag, this guy repeating CNN. I don't watch CNN, and I also don't watch You in My Life anymore. You're out of here. Bob Ross just says Trump. That's a ban also. Guys, I don't care if you have different opinions than me, but actually ask a question, be part of the conversation. Alrighty, let's see what we got here. That's not working. All right. Sorry.